Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and I've been working on Christmas trees, and I thought that's what I was going to do today, but something popped into my head, and you know I tend to bounce around a lot from one project to the next. What I was thinking I would do, and this was because I watched another video where they were creating like a snow line or a hill line in the background, and I realized that if you don't have an Access subscription, you don't have access to the one free shape that'll give you that look. So I thought, well, why don't I just go into my software, I'll make a bunch of free shapes and I'll share them with everybody that wants them. And then I got to looking and I thought, I can recreate most of these in DesignSpace with just using free shapes. So that's what we're going to do. I don't think we'll get through all of them. I'm going to click on shapes here. Actually, I'm going to minimize this just a little. Make sure my screen's picking it all up. Looks like it is. Okay. So I'm going to click on shapes. And you know, if you have an Access subscription, this is not a problem for you. But if you don't, and I know there are a lot of people who don't right now, or never have, don't have an Access subscription, they don't have access to all of these shapes down here. And most of them can easily be recreated. Now, there are a few that cannot be easily recreated. The teardrop is one of them. I've tried. I haven't been successful. Maybe you know something I don't. Actually, I just had an idea that might work on that one, but we'll come back to that. The heart's not easily, I want to say duplicatable. That's not a word. It's not easy to replicate. If you can get the teardrop shape, you can kind of work with that, but most of the rest of these are fairly easy to do. This one, not so much. This is the one, the video I watched, this is the one she was using, and it really does make a nice kind of slightly sloped hilly area for either grass, hills, sand, snow, whatever. But that one's not so easily able to duplicate, and I'll make a free shape for that because I can do that for you. Same with this banner here. Most of the rest of these are pretty simple until you get down to this one. I have done this. It's a little more complicated, but it can be done. I'm not sure what this is. It looks like, okay, yeah, we can do that easily enough. Again, because of the roundedness on this one's a little difficult without the tear shape. And the ribbon is, I don't know how to do it. Somebody might. I can kind of get this one replicated, and I probably can figure this one out given enough time. These bottom 5, definitely not so easy to do. So what I'm going to do today is I'm just going to show you how to make your own. You can look at these over here even if you're not going to use them, or you can pull them onto your canvas to look at them and then delete them before you save the file. And that should not cost you anything to use because you're not saving that shape. So regardless of that, if you don't want to figure out how to make your own, if you'd rather just get in there and get to work, that's fine, because I'm going to save this file, and because they should all be free shapes, when we're done, you can access this file through my Facebook page. I'll give you the link there under the on the same post with the video. So with that said, let's get started. I went ahead and put a couple on my canvas that I thought would be easy enough to recreate, and I'm going to kind of show you how to do it. Now, if I'm going to zoom in here because I want you to see, this is not initially what I thought it was. I just thought these were points, but there's actually a rounded valley here. I don't know if you can see that, just a gentle rounded valley. So it looks to me like they used some kind of oval. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go to our free shapes and we're going to pull in this oval. I'm going to just shrink it down because we don't need that big. And then with this one here, we just need a circle. So I'm going to pull in a circle. But keep in mind, you could do this with just about any shape. Now, this has an odd number of, I think it has an odd number. It doesn't seem to line up exactly. Well, let's just count them real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 19. So that one's going to be a little trickier. We may not get it exact, but we'll get really close, okay? You could, if it were an even 20, you could use this pill shape over here. Let me zip that down. Let me zip that down for you. You could use this, stretch it out, and when we get to rotating, you'll see. But because we're using, that has 19, I'm probably going to cheat and just do 20 because that's easier for me. But I'm going to show you how I do it, and then if you want the 19, you can do that yourself. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close this for now because I have pulled these onto my canvas, and I'm going to just kind of place them up here at the top. Let's see. There's my oval. Did I not grab my circle? I did not. I got talking and forgot what I was going to do. So let me grab the circle real quick. We'll add it. And I'm going to shrink that too. Okay, and I'm just going to put it right there. So I'm going to make these two. These are the ones we're going to duplicate. And I'm just going to change the color on those because I prefer it. And let's go with this deeper blue. Okay, so to start with, you can see this one. This is the one that's got the 19. We're going to go 20. And there's two ways we can do that. We can use this, I call it a pill shape. I don't know what they call it. I'm going to make a copy of that. And I'll go ahead and make a copy of the circle. So with this one, we can work with it this way. So I'm going to stretch this and shrink it. Now one thing you notice it's doing is it's distorting the end of the curve here. Let me clear that out. So you see how that's not as rounded as it once was? You can see our shape up here. There is a way to combat that if you want to. You would take one of these to start. You'll need more than one. So you can either cut this one in half, insert a square or rectangle in the center, and then add the other one to the other end. Or you can just keep adding on to it and just stretching it out like this, which, you know, depending on your thought processes, this might be easier. We're just going to do it now. I'm going to go ahead and align all those at the top. My buttons have just moved again because of the update. There's top. So everything looks a little different. So you see now how we're going to have to move this one in a little bit because we've got a little bit of a dip right here. So we want to get rid of that. So I'm going to pull this in, and then I'll have to pull this one in. But essentially, you would just keep doing that until you got it the length that you wanted it roughly. I'm going to go ahead and combine and weld. And then you can shrink that down and you don't lose your proportions of your, the roundedness. It stays the same shape, which, depends on what you like, what difference you want. I'm actually going to save this one. No. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to save this one. We're going to try it with this shape here. So, how wide is this here? I want it 2 inches wide, I think, but that's pretty round. So what I should probably do is make another copy of that and do the same thing. We're just going to attach it. Okay, I'm going to select them both, align them again at the top, and then I'm going to combine and weld. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So we're going to start with that. I'm going to change the color. I don't know, maybe black's easier for you guys to see, so I'll leave it, but I do not like it. Alright, so we've got a copy, and we're going to, because we're going to do 20, we're going to divide 360 by 20, because there's 360 degrees in a circle. So that's going to get you 18. So, I guess that's what we're going to work with. Or do we need to double it, 36 maybe, because we've got 2 ends. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to rotate it. And I don't like that they took this center part out, but it's okay. It's not like I really needed it. Alright, I'm going to plus that again, or duplicate it again, and this time when I rotate it, I just add 36 to 36 and we get 72. I'll duplicate it again. We will add another 36, so now we're going to be at 108. And we will rotate again, and with 36 we're going to be at 144. Is that right? And 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's go ahead. That might be enough. We'll try one more. Let's duplicate one more and rotate. And now we're going to be 36. It'd be 170, 180. Yeah, we didn't need that one. And I know that because it's the same angle, plane, I don't know. It's been a long time since I was in school and I've forgotten a lot. But you can see it's identical to the one we started with. So I'm just going to delete. Well, you know what? Let's move it over to our bone pile because you never know, we might need it. Bone pile, sandbox, call it what you will. Alright, so now we've got them all selected, all the ones we just created, and we're going to align and center. And look at that. Now, I made them a little too long, so it's a little strange looking, but it's a free shape, right? Let's see here. Yeah, I shouldn't have made them quite as long. Okay, well that's okay. We're going to group it, and we'll just try it again. So I'm going to, instead of 3.3 inches long, let's go down to, I wanted to start with 2, but then I added on to it, so, and then I might just try, it's not going to let me. I wanted to, let's see, let's unlock our proportions, and let's just try and change it just a little. Yeah, it didn't mess it up too bad. Okay, so let's just repeat all that. I'll fast forward this through you, though, for you, so you don't have to listen to me do my math. Alright guys, I figured out what I did. I should have gone with 18 instead of 36. So, we're going to try it again. Let me just pick this one here. We'll pull it out. I'll go ahead and, I'm going to get rid of that because essentially it's the same as the other one. And let's do this. I usually start up and down instead of side side, so that's partially confusing me, I think, but we'll see. So let's try it again. We're going to duplicate, we're going to rotate, and instead of 36 we're going to do 18, increments of 18. Alright, so duplicate, rotate, 36, duplicate, rotate, 18 and 36. I'm going to go 56, 54, duplicate, rotate, 74, 72, duplicate, rotate, 92, 90, duplicate, rotate, 16 or 18 would be 108, duplicate, rotate, 126, duplicate, rotate, 144, duplicate, rotate, 162, and now we do not need to do the last one because that will be the same as the first one. So let me just zoom out a little bit. I'm going to move this out of the way, grab all of these, and align and center. Ah, ta-da! Let me zoom that in so you can see. Lovely. So it's not identical. I'm going to go ahead and combine and weld. It is not identical to the one that's in the Access subscription because it has an even number of humps, bumps, whatever, around the perimeter, whereas this one has an odd number. That's not so easy to do for me, at least, because that involves a lot more math than I care to undertake. But you could do it. So here you go. You've got your circle, and I'm going to delete this one because this one costs. And even though I have an Access subscription, you might not. And so for those of you, and I couldn't share it with anybody who did not have an Access subscription, so I'm going to delete it. And I'm going to change the color of this one because this is our completed one. And I'm going with the dark blue. I can probably enlarge it a little bit. Let's see if we can get it to an even 2. Oop, oop. Yeah, there we go. I think they come in around 2, so there you go. We've got the first one. So now we want to do this one. Now this one's a little different. This one you are going to need the circle, so I'm going to bring it over. And this might require a little bit of trial and error. We'll see. So I'm going to just kind of find us a clear workspace. I'm going to change the size of this. Let's just make it a 1/2 inch or thereabouts. And let's see, I do not remember. I thought I'd try this one, but this isn't going to work because it would give me the negative space, if that makes sense. So this one is going to have let's start here. 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 16 on a side, 32, does 360 and 32 work? I don't know if it does, but we'll come close. So we did 18 there. We'll see. We'll play with it. Okay, so we're going to just kind of set this somewhere. We're going to make a copy. We're going to bring it down. Let's do this. And I want to align them just left or right, whichever works for you. And then I want to group it because I don't want these to move from their current positioning in relation to each other. So now we're going to start duplicating and rotating. And I think we'll go with 10 or 12. 12 I think works. We know what 18 got us, and that was, yeah, we want more than that. So let's do 10. Okay, so we're going to go plus, rotate, just 10 degrees. And I'm just going to kind of pull that in so you can get a rough look at where that would be. And I might probably need to make those a little bit smaller. Or change it to 12. Let's see what that does. Is that better? Just trying to get that center line where it goes. There we go. No, I need to make these a little smaller, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to ungroup these, and I'm going to delete that one. And I'm going to make this smaller still. And I probably need to spread it out a little bit more, but maybe since I made it smaller, I don't. So I've got it down to 1/4 inch now. Let's do this one. This is 1/4 inch. I just duplicated it. And I'm going to select them both. And again, I want to align them to the left or the right. And it did move it a little bit. All right, so with them both selected, I'm going to group them. And let's try this again. So let's rotate 10 degrees. Okay, we'll pull it up and see what that gives us. Kind of want it, there we go. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is I want to see how big this dip is here. And if I were using the oval instead of the circle, it would probably look more like this. So I'm going to just kind of pause this for a second. I'm going to grab that oval because I do want to try and give you exactly as close as I can. So I'm going to shrink this down. Now, remember I said this would give me, no, it might work. Okay, I don't know. We'll just have to play with it and see. I'm going to make that a little bit more pronounced. I'm going to, because it just is easier for me to work this direction. And we'll put that there. We'll make a copy of it. And we'll pull it. I'm going to put it there like that. And I'm going to just kind of move these over here out of the way. We'll come back to it maybe. Alright, so once again, I'm going to select them both. I'm going to align them to the left or the right. We got very little movement that time, that's good. And I'm going to group it. And now let's start our rotation. So I'm going to go plus and rotate 10. And let's see what that gives us. I'm trying to find my center line here. I don't know if that's centered. That says, oh, it's centering it to the top one. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's a little bit more of a dip like what you're getting up here. It's not quite the same, but it's closer. Okay, so let's duplicate, rotate, and I'm just going to keep bumping it up by 10. So I will fast forward for you. Alright, so I'm going to show you something else. If you get tired and you don't want to make 18 of those, right? Yeah. You can do 8, 9, I've lost track. But anyway, you can do 1/4 of them. And we can align center, and then we group it, and we duplicate it, and a couple things we could do here. Let's just try flipping it. I'm all about making this as easy as possible. Not quite. Something's off somewhere. Oh, I should have done one more. Looky there. Okay, well, that's okay. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to pick this one here, and I'm going to duplicate it, and then we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So that's what I should have done. I should have done one more. Okay, so let's do align and center. Okay, so I'm going to group that. I'm going to make a copy of it because that was a lot of work. I'm going to try a couple of different things with it. So you could either, I think for simplicity's sake, you could maybe, if you welded this one, you could contour out that outermost layer. And there you go. Look at that. I was going to pull in a circle and then cut and slice and all that stuff. You don't have to do that, guys. Sometimes it's, you know, you just have to spend a little more time thinking about something instead of diving right in. So how wide? That one's 2. Let's make this one 2. And they're pretty similar. I'm going to bring that to the top. And I mean, they're pretty similar. Let's rotate it a little bit and see if we can, oh, not resize. Rotate. Let's try that. It's a little different. I'm not sure. Maybe a different number of things, but it's very close. Right? So this is our new one. This is the one we created, and because we used free shapes, it's now free too. So I'm going to delete this one, and now I'll change this one to the blue, just because I prefer it. Now let's zoom back out so I can see what else we've got here. So there's that one. Now I did make a copy of this, right? So here's the other thing you can do with this. I'm going to make one more copy real quick. Put that back over there. I'm going to take this one, and now I'm going to weld it all together again. But this time I'm going to contour out the inner circle. And there you go. It's almost a flower shape or a nice oval for a sentiment. Let's change that color so that all of our free shapes now match. Try to get that at 2. Ba-doom. So those now, you would have had to pay for these two. They're now free because we use free shapes to recreate them. Should we finish the circles and see what that gets us? This is going to end up being a little longer than I intended, but I just want to show you that you guys can do this stuff. And don't be afraid to try. I mean, if you try and fail, then just, evaluate where you might have went wrong and try again. Let's see, let's duplicate, let's rotate, and we were doing these. So this is going to be very similar. You know what? I'm not going to finish this one just because you've seen how to do it and it's very similar to the oval. So what were some of the other free shapes over here that we might want to try? Or not free shapes. They're under shapes, but they're not free. This half arch here, we can do that. Let's pull the one in that they're using, shrink that way down. And so what do you think we're going to need for this one? Obviously a circle, right? So we're going to pull the circle in. I'm going to change this to blue because this will be the one we keep. You know what, I'm going to change all of these just maybe to a dark gray. I don't know. Okay, so this is going to need to be enlarged. If it will let me. There we go. Trying to get it roughly the same size as I have this one. And I'm not there yet. Now you could always, if you, what is going on? Okay, you could always make this, stretch it out, make it wider one direction the other, or use the oval or the pill, use it with different shapes. Don't limit yourself. Think outside the box. That's sometimes hard for me. I'm a very literal person. I've come a long way. You'd be really proud of me. Alright, so we're going to make another copy of this. I'm going to change the color so we can see it. I'm going to go with this blue. It's a different blue, but that's okay. And we're going to kind of shrink it and then figure out, is that about the width that we're looking for? So let's align and center. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to slice. And pull that out of the way, pull that out of the way, and there you go, look at that. Now that is almost the same as this. But we need to cut that off. So there's a couple ways you can do this. Now I've made rainbows. I think I've shared that one with you guys, where I would just use a square and cut off the bottom there. But let's just grab both those triangles because you just never know which one we're going to want. I'm going to change that to the light gray. Change all of these to the light gray. Just because I can. Alright, so this is the one we're trying to recreate. So we want to kind of get that angle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a copy of that so I don't have to go back in and get it again. I'm going to flip it vertically. I have to think about that every once in a while. Now that's obviously not quite the right angle. I'm going to just move these down and out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to have to figure out how do I want this angle. So I'm just going to start spinning it. And that actually doesn't look bad, right? So I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to flip it horizontally. And I'm going to slide it over here. So I want to align these two shapes that I just created at the top or the bottom, take your pick, and I'm going to group them just for the time being. And that looks pretty good to me. Now you could change that, you could move them up or down. You could change the angle on them if you ungroup them. Let's make a copy of those. Ungroup, take one away, and let's change the angle of that. Maybe you want it to be a little bit more like this. So you'd make 2 of those. You'd flip one horizontally, and let's just make a copy of that too. Alright, so what I want to do now is, actually before I do anything else, I need to weld these. Combine, weld, select it all, and slice. Can't do it that way. Okay, so now we're going to go into contour, and we're just going to get rid of this stuff on the bottom. Look, it's not identical, but it's very close. Alright, so let's see if we can get a little closer. We'll do one more attempt. I'm going to pull this in, pull it up here, pull this up here, align them both at the top. I'm going to group them. I do want to center all these. I didn't do that last time. I don't think it ended up making a difference, but I'm going to do it this time. So align and center, and it did change it a little bit. I should have done vertically probably, or horizontally, but I'm just going to pull it back up to where I think it looks good, like right there. I do want to weld these 2 together, and then I'm going to slice. Get rid of all of that, get rid of that, and again we'll go into contour and take rid of the bottom one and apply. And so these are the 2 shapes. So there you go. I mean, these are the ones we made. This is the one we brought in. So they're a little different, but you can see you can stretch them out if you want, or whatever. If that's wider than you want it to be, go into effects and offset and do a negative offset on it. And now it's narrower. So those are your options. This is not free, so we're going to get rid of that. But these 2 are. So we're going to change the color of those to blue, and we'll pull them up here. Alright, so what else is in shapes that we can do? Well, obviously the moon, the different shapes, the crescents of the moon. That's a super easy one. I'm going to take and make a couple copies of these, plus, pull them over, plus, pull it over. Okay, so to do this one, you're just going to line up 2 circles, right? Now you don't have to align them at the top. You'll get a different look if you don't. So you see kind of how it looks. Or you could use different size circles, and that will also give you a different look. So we're going to, I'm just going to slice. I shouldn't have done that. You know why? Because that's a whole nother shape. That's another free shape for you. So looky there. Let's change that to our lighter blue, as well as this one to our lighter blue. These are now yours to keep. And I'm just going to resize that a little bit. So I'm going to pull these 2 together. And this was going, I mean, technically we made that. I don't know that you'll want it, but I'll go ahead and change the color on that. Oh, I do need to weld that all together. Okay, so that's also yours. This goes into our bone pile, but you could, you know what, we don't have to. We can leave it out here because that might make a nice wreath base. I don't know. You tell me, because now it's not combined and welded or any of that yet. So let me make a copy for the bone pile, and we will take this one and we will just weld it. There you go. Okay, so we've got a couple more of these, right? So actually I don't want to do that. So let's try something a little different here. You could also go smaller with the front one, and that'll give you a whole nother shape. So let's slice that out of there. So now you've got this one, which is similar to that, but not identical. And you've got this one, which is similar to that, but not identical. So let's put both of those in the lighter blue. And let's get rid of this and that. So those are free. So you can see how some of these shapes just really lend themselves to being easily recreated. I think there was another one in here. If I go down and look, this one, I think we can kind of do this one. So let me just pull it in. We'll get rid of it here when we're done, and enlarge that a little bit. So that's going to be our base. We're going to have two of these, but I do want to make that a little smaller. I'm going to make two of them. I'm going to kind of pull them in like so. Down a little bit. Let's see, how does that look? That's not bad. So I do want to align those at the top just because it gives you symmetry. If you don't care about symmetry, you're not going to be layering pieces front and back or whatever. It won't make as big a difference to you. I like the spacing overall, so I'm going to hit combine and weld, and then I'm going to align and center horizontally, and that's pretty good. So I think I'll slice it. Ta-da! It's not identical, but it's pretty close. See if we can get it roughly the same size. Okay, so I'm going to enlarge it a little bit bigger because I do want to show you something. Pull this down and this down. If you don't like the way this flares back out here toward the bottom of the piece you just cut, I'm just going to grab a square and cut that off. I'll get rid of these because, oops, we don't need those. And I don't have a square handy, but I have this nice pill shape which has a flat top, and so it will work because I just want to cut that off on the bottom and get it nice and squared off. Something like that, maybe a little higher. I like that. Let's do that. Okay, slice. Ta-da! I could have left it a little longer, but you can see how easy that is, right? This is not rocket science. You do not need a degree. You do not need to do a lot of heavy lifting here. We're going to get rid of this one because this one's not free. We're going to change the color on our free one so it matches all the other free shapes we've just created. And we're just going to move it up here. Alright, so we'll do one more real quick because I have no idea how long this video's gotten. 40 minutes, I'm so sorry, but hopefully you're learning something. Let's look at the shapes again. Let's pick, I've showed you how to cut away. This is just, you just take your square, make it a rectangle, take a triangle and cut out the end. And this one, you can add the triangle to the end. Same with this, you're just going to cut the triangle out of both ends. This is just a rectangle that I would use a triangle because it's already angled to cut that off and square that off. Those are all pretty easy to recreate. This one's a little harder. Okay, we've got the star here. We've got, this, you're just going to elongate your oval or your pill shape, and you're going to create an X by rotating a couple of pieces. The diamond, not as easy to do, but it could be done. Same with this. The rainbow piece is similar. How about one of these? You want to try one of those? Yeah, let's do this X here. I'm going to enlarge it. so we can see it. Or I said X. It's not an X at all. I don't know what I was thinking. But we've already got some triangles up here, so let's take one of these. I'm going to bring it down here. I like to work up and down. For me, that just makes more sense. So you can do a couple things here. Because I like symmetry, I'm going to use the same shape. I'm going to make a copy. I'm going to do this with it. I'm going to make those different colors just so you can kind of see. There we go. So this is what I'm going for. So I'm going to align them, and I'm going to center vertically. No, I do want horizontally. Okay, align, center, horizontally. I'm going to need a drink after this. I don't normally talk this much, believe it or not. All right, so that looks pretty good. Now, do I want it to be a little thicker, a little thinner? It's centered horizontally, so I can now move it up and down at will to get it where I want it. And remember, you can always use your offset to make it bigger or smaller, like narrower, if that's what you need to do, or thicker, if that's what you're looking for. But I kind of like it like that. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to slice it and pull all that away. This could be used on another shape to recreate. I'm going to leave that in there, guys. Show me what you can do with that. Okay, so here we go. I don't need this anymore. The one thing you might notice, though, I'm going to flip it and turn it if it'll let me. Rotate key's gone. Let's come over here and let's just do it 90 degrees. There we go. The thing you can see here is these come up at an angle. If you would rather have it do that than be flat across the bottom, like the letter A would be in most cases, you come over here and you do something like this. And it really depends on what angle you want. If that's more of an angle than what you're looking for, you can rotate it. So then we want to go negative. That's not bad. That might be better. Alright, so I'm going to make a copy of this so you'll have it. And I'm going to change it to blue. I'm also going to shrink it because it's way too big. And then I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to duplicate it because it's at the angle that we want it. And then I'm going to flip it horizontally, bring it over, and you can use the little red line there to kind of line it up sometimes, but I still like to manually select them both and then align them at the top. And then I can combine and weld them, and then I'm going to just center it horizontally and slice. And there you go. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to get rid of all of this. That's a little bit more like the one that's over here. Let's change the color again. So this is the one we're keeping. And I'm going to get rid of this. So here's a couple more free shapes for you. Now we do need to size these down because they're quite large. And I will zoom in a little bit. Okay. So once again, I am going to save all of this and I'm going to share it with you. Let's see here. Just trying to get everything resized. I might line it up a little bit better so it's not so messy. And I might go in and recreate a few more, but you can see how to do it. And it's not difficult at all. Let's see. Go back into shapes. I mean, I really think everything else that you can do is pretty easy to do. With the star here, you're going to use triangles. Now, they've got an odd number, which makes it a little tricky. But you can do it with an even number. You don't have to use an odd number unless you want to get into the math, which even then you're, that's a whole, I'm not going to explain that because I don't think I can do it justice. The diamond, look at this. We can do this diamond right now. I'm going to bring it down. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit. I'm going to make a copy of our previously used triangle. along with this shape we just created by cutting away parts. And oh, that is not what I want. Okay, so I need to take this triangle. Let me enlarge, guys, because I can barely see this. So I want you to be able to see this. I'm going to slide over and I'm going to flip it vertically. So now we got the bottom of the diamond, but we got to get the top and the bottom to match, right? So we can do one of two things. You can enlarge the bottom or shrink the top. You take your pick. But you want them to be the same width. So the width of this currently is 3.6 or 3.8. So let's try and make this 3.8 size. 3.8. And I kept the proportions. So we're going to align that at the top. Now, there's your diamond. You would combine those once you got them just positioned correctly. I'll go ahead and do that. I'm here. I might as well. And see, they're not. First of all, we want to position them left and right. Align to the left. So that's good. And it looks like, let me see how high I can go. It looks like we're good right here. We don't have a lot of inappropriate overlap. So I'm going to back up. So now, let's see. Let me back out a little bit more. Here we go. I'm going to make another copy of this. And I'm just going to go ahead and weld it the way it is. Combine, weld. Change the color. Actually, I thought we were doing lighter, but that's okay. So there's the blue. There's your blue diamond. That looks like a diamond, right? What if we took and we stretched this up a little bit more? Does that look a little better? I'm not sure it does, but we'll go ahead and combine and weld. Stretch it down and change our color. And there you go. You got a couple more diamonds that you can do whatever you want with. Let's see if I'm just going to drag them both up. We got to come a long ways over here. We're traveling. There we go. So the first one we did actually looks better. I don't know why I thought that one would look good, but you know, it is what it is. So that's how easy it is to make your own shapes. Now, for the ones that are in Designspace that you need the subscription for that you can't duplicate, I am going to go ahead and work on those shapes that you can grab those files, the PNGs. I don't know if I'll try and turn them into SVGs, but you can do it with either one. PNGs is just easier. It saves me a few steps. And that would be like the ribbon here, or this kind of rounded shape. We had the teardrop up here as well as the heart. Yeah, this one here, we're just using a circle and different shapes to cut this out. And the same with this. This is like the diamond we created, except it's in a reverse order, so to speak. So those are things you guys can do. I think you see how you can make the circle one here. But I'll work on the other ones and maybe even have a few extras for you. And I will let you know when those are ready. But in the meantime, these are ready. So you know what? Let's go ahead and save them. Let me zoom way back out again. I'm going to delete this because I don't really remember what it was. I'm going to grab all of these shapes here that are free, pull them over, pull this over. I'm going to just group all that together and then hide it. But it's there if you want it. Oh, moved wrong way. So let's come back over and up. And I'm just going to kind of reposition everything a little bit neatly. Or more neatly, maybe is what I need to say. You got all your moon shapes. Now, a lot of these would look really nice in mandalas, and I think I've done a video on that. I'll have to look. Maybe it's time to do another one. Those are really, really easy to create. Basically, you're just doing the same thing we did here, where we're just creating our strip top and bottom and then rotating after we duplicate, rotate, duplicate, rotate. It's the same thing. There we go. Let's pull this over, and then we've got this one still kind of large on the large side. So there you go, guys. There's your free shape. So let's save it. Let's save. I'm going to start it with ECS because, you know, it did come from me. And let's do DS shapes. Well, designspace shapes. Let's do no subscription shapes. No? I don't know. I'm suddenly at a loss. I'm just going to do shapes. It's just easier. Alright, so I'm going to save this under, well, we did kind of case them, didn't we? So I'm going to put cased. And I'm going to do ECS and Facebook group shares and save. So, to get these, the link to these free files or free shapes, you're going to go scroll down in the comments and look for my Facebook page. You'll go there and you'll look for the video where I did these. And that link for Designspace will be in there. So if there's something else you guys want or need, let me know. I will do my very best to recreate it. If I can't do it in Designspace, I do have some other software. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not the best, but I do enjoy playing with it, so I'll do what I can. So until next time, guys, this is Georgiana signing off, hoping you have a great weekend and that you stay nice and cool. If that's your thing, it's definitely my thing. And I just want to thank you guys. I don't know if, I don't think I've said this because it just happened, but we just rolled over 1,300 subscribers. So I'm really happy that you've all decided to join me on this journey, and I would love more feedback from you. You know, if there's something you want or need, I'm happy to give it a go. I may not be able to accomplish it, but I will try. So with that said, guys, until next time, I hope you have a happy crafty day.